How much was it?
Good afternoon.
How much was it? Return it to me.
Sending out my links a while. Today we are going to continue on our journey through the book of Genesis. Sorry, Rumble's giving me a bit of an issue here. Give me 1 second, please. Hopefully you're all having a wonderful day. I'm almost done here. My apologies for taking so long. Some days stuff doesn't want to completely cooperate with you, you know? I do have a couple things I want to talk about before we start the Bible study. Alright, got that fixed. Hey, Fred. Hi, Jay. Hi, Cassie. Welcome in. So, one of the things that I really want to touch on right now is the Olympics. Okay. The Olympics have been absolutely disgusting. And if you're a Christian, you really have to call this stuff out for what it is. We can no longer keep just turning a blind eye to how the world sees us. Um, I guess this is kind of my call to action. We really need to let people know that, yes, we're Christians, but no, we're not going to continue to put up with this disrespect of our religion. I will not be watching any of the Olympics at this point. Um, yeah, it's just been complete and total crap show anyway. So, okay. That's basically what I wanted to get into first and foremost. So now let's learn some stuff. How's that sound? The Table of Nations, Genesis chapter 10, verses 1. This is the account of Shem, Ham, and Japheth, Noah's sons, who themselves had sons after the flood. The sons of Japheth, who are Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshech, and Tiras. The sons of Gomer are Ashkenaz, Ripeth, and Togarma. And the sons of Javan, Elisha, or is it Elisha? Tarshish, the Kittim, and Redanim. From these, the maritime people spread out into their territories by their clans within their nations, each with their own language. So here we're seeing that the sons of Noah's son Japheth, Noah's grandson, are creating different tribes, and they're spreading out by water. They're using water to move to different areas. Are there any questions about that part? Okay, we'll move on then. The sons of Ham, Cush, Mizraim, Put, and Canaan. The sons of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Ramah, and Sabteka. The sons of Ramah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush was the father of Nimrod, who grew to be a mighty warrior on the earth. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. That is why it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. Okay. So now we've gone through the sons of both Ham and Japheth. And Japheth's sons are maritime people. And Ham's sons and family are land people. The first centers of his kingdom were Babylon, Erech, Akkad, and Calneh and Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria, where he built Nineveh, Rehoboth, Elar, and Calah. And Rezin, which is between Nineveh and Kela, is the great city. That is the great city. Yeah, sorry. Mizraim was the father of the Ludites, Anamites, Lahabites, and Nephtuites, Pathrusites, Casluhites, from whom the Philistines came, and Caphtorites. Caphtorites? Good Lord. Some of these names are a mouthful, aren't they? Then Canaan was the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and of the Hittites. So here we go through the blossoming of more different populations. Jebusites, Amorites, Girgashites, Hivitites, Archites, Sinites, holy crap, Arvidas, Zamartis, and Hamathites. Later the Canaanite clans scattered. The borders of Canaan reached from Sudan towards Gerar as far as Gaza, and then towards Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim as far as Lasha. So here they're telling you where the populations came from, who they were born from, and where they populated. These are the sons of Ham by their clans and languages and their territories and nations. Sons were also born to Shem, whose older brother was Japheth. Shem was the ancestor of all the sons of Eber. The sons of Shem, Elam, Aser, Ashur, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram. The sons of Aram are Uz, Hol, Gether, and Meshech. Arphaxad was the father of Shelah, and Shelah the father of Eber. Two sons were born to Eber. One was named Peleg, because in his time the earth was divided. His brother was named Joktan. Joktan was the father of Almodad, Shelef, Hazarmaveth, Jerah, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. All of these were sons of Joktan. The region where they lived stretched from Misha towards Sephar in the East Hill country. These are the sons of Shem by their clans and languages and their territories and nations. These are the clans of Noah's sons according to their lines of descent within their nations. From these the nations spread out over the earth after the flood. So that takes care of chapter 10, the Table of Nations, which is telling us how the world became populated from Noah and his sons. Are there any questions? I'm going to guess that there are no questions, so we will move on to chapter 11. Okay. Chapter 11. Give me a second here. I want to see something. Okay. Chapter 11 is called the Tower of Babel. Now the whole world had one language and a common speech. As men moved eastward, they found a plain in Shinar and settled there. They said to each other, "Come, let's make bricks and bake them thoroughly." They used brick instead of stone and tar for mortar. Then they said, "Come, let us build ourselves a city with a tower that reaches to the heavens, so that we may make a name for ourselves and not be scattered over the face of the whole earth." But the Lord came down to see the city and the tower that the men were building. The Lord said, "If as one people speaking the same language they have begun to do this, then nothing they plan to do will be impossible for them. Come, let us go down and confuse their language, so they will not understand each other." So the Lord scattered them from there over all the earth, and they stopped building the city. That is why it was called Babel, because there the Lord confused the language of the whole world. From there the Lord scattered them over the face of the whole earth. So from here we're talking about how when everyone spoke the same language, they kind of got this kind of God complex. They wanted to make a name for themselves as people and build a tower to the heavens, which would give them, I guess they felt they would give them access to the heavens. Does that make sense? So next we're getting on to from Shem to Abraham. This is the account of Shem 2 years after the flood, when Shem was 100 years old. He became the father of Arphaxad. And after he became the father of Arphaxad, Shem lived 500 years and had other sons and daughters. When Arphaxad had lived 35 years, he became the father of Shelah. And after he became the father of Shelah, Arphaxad lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Shelah had lived 30 years, he became the father of Eber. And after he became the father of Eber, Shelah lived 403 years and had other sons and daughters. When Eber had lived 34 years, he became the father of Peleg. And after he became the father of Peleg, Eber lived 430 years and had other sons and daughters. When Peleg had lived 30 years, he became the father of Reu. And after he became the father of Reu, Peleg lived 209 years and had other sons and daughters. When Reu had lived 32 years, he became the father of Serug. And after he became the father of Serug, Reu lived 207 years and had other sons and daughters. When Serug had lived 30 years, he became the father of Nahor. And after he became the father of Nahor, Serug lived 200 years and had other sons and daughters. When Nahor had lived 29 years, he became the father of Terah. And after he became the father of Terah, Nahor lived 119 years and had other sons and daughters. After Terah had lived 70 years, he became the father of Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. Okay, so that just goes through the lineage from Shem all the way to Abraham. Now, Abraham is a big part of the story here. So, this is the account of Terah. Terah became the father of Abraham, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran became the father of Lot. While his father Terah was still alive, Haran died in Ur of the Chaldeans, in the land of his birth. Abraham and Nahor both married. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife was Milcah. She was the daughter of Haran and the father of both Milcah and Iscah. Now Sarah was barren. She had no children. Terah took his son Abraham, his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, the wife of his son Abraham, together, and together they set out from Ur of the Chaldeans to go to Canaan. But when they came to Haran, they settled there. Terah lived 205 years, and he died in Haran. Okay. Is anybody even here? I'm getting no chat. That's chapter 11. Please feel free to ask questions if you have them. If not, if you don't want to ask them here, you can message me on Discord or ask questions in email. I'll post my email here. Hi, Jay. I'm just checking, bud. I want to make sure that if anybody has questions, I want them to feel free to ask. I don't want anybody to feel that they have to be shy about asking questions. I want you to understand what we're talking about. So I'm just posting my email real quick. That way, if you don't want to ask questions in here, yeah, I know this is a kind of a boring part of the Bible. I understand that, and it's one of those things we just kind of got to get through. fine. It'll get better. I promise. And I'm sorry about some of my pronunciations. Um, yeah, they come up with some really interesting names for some of this stuff, you know. All right, on to chapter 12. The call of Abraham. The Lord said to Abraham, "Leave your country, your people, and your father's household, and go to the land I will show you. I will make you into a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse. And all peoples on earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham left as the Lord had told him, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he set out from Haran. He took his wife Sarah, his nephew Lot, all the possessions they had accumulated, and the people they had acquired in Haran, and they set out for the land of Canaan, and they arrived there. Abraham traveled through the land as far as the site of the great tree of Morah at Shechem. At that time the Canaanites were in the land. The Lord appeared to Abraham and said, "To your offspring I will give this land." So he built an altar there to the Lord who had appeared to him. From there he went on towards the hills east of Bethel and pitched his tent, with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. There he built an altar to the Lord and called on the name of the Lord. Then Abraham set out and continued on to Negev. So are you seeing the continued thing here? As Abraham is following God's instructions and he reaches different points of his journeys, you'll notice that Abraham is building altars. And what he's doing on those altars is, of course, he's doing sacrifices to the Lord. Hold on 1 second, please. Yes, Mom, I'll be out then. Okay, sorry about that. And he's moving around, getting a feel and a layout of the new land that they are inhabiting. Abraham and Egypt. Here we go. Now there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down to Egypt to live there for a while because the famine was severe. As he was about to enter Egypt, he said to his wife Sarah, "I know what a beautiful woman you are. When the Egyptians see you, they will say, 'This is his wife.' Then they will kill me, but will let you live. Say you are my sister, so that I will be treated well for your sake, and my life will be spared because of you." When Abraham came to Egypt, the Egyptians saw that she was a very beautiful woman. And when Pharaoh's officials saw her, they praised her to Pharaoh, and she was taken into his palace. He treated Abraham well for her sake, and Abraham acquired sheep and cattle, male and female donkeys, men servants and maidservants, and camels. But the Lord inflicted serious diseases on Pharaoh and his household because of Abraham's wife Sarah. So Pharaoh summoned Abraham. "What have you done to me?" he said. "Why didn't you tell me she was your wife? Why did you say she is my sister, so that I took her to be my wife? Now then, here is your wife, take her and go." Then Pharaoh gave orders about Abraham to his men, and they sent him on his way with his wife and everything he had. So, yeah, wow. Abraham left Pharaoh marry his wife, who Pharaoh thought was his sister. And because of this, God punished Pharaoh. Interesting thought there, huh? Chapter 13, Abraham and Lot separate. So Abraham went up from Egypt to the Negev with his wife and everything they had, and Lot went with him. Abraham had become very wealthy in livestock and in silver and gold. From the Negev, he went from place to place until he came to Bethel, to the place between Bethel and Ai, I think is how it's pronounced, where his tent had been earlier, and where he had first built an altar. There Abraham called on the name of the Lord. Now Lot, who was moving about with Abraham, also had flocks and herds and tents. But the Lord could not support them while they stayed together, for their possessions were so great that they were not able to stay together. And quarreling arose between Abraham's herdsmen and the herdsmen of Lot. The Canaanites and Perizzites were also living in the land at that time. So Abraham said to Lot, "Let's not have any quarreling between you and me, or between your herdsmen and mine, for we are brothers. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left." Lot looked up and saw the whole plain of the Jordan was well watered, like the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt towards Zoar. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out towards the east. The two men parted company. Abraham lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the men of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. So now here Lot and Sodom, or Lot and Abraham have split paths. They're going in different directions because they were growing too large as a group that there was infighting. And Abraham gave Lot his choice of where he wanted to go, and Lot chose the River Jordan, that whole plain there to move. And Abraham moved to the west, going towards Sodom. And now we're going to learn the plight of the Sodomites. The Lord said to Abraham after Lot had parted from him, "Lift up your eyes from where you are and look north and south, east and west. All the land that you see I will give to you and your offspring forever. I will make your offspring like the dust of the earth, so that if anyone could count the dust, then your offspring could be counted. Go walk through the length and breadth of the land, for I am giving it to you." So Abraham moved his tents and went to live near the great trees of Mamre at Hebron, where he built an altar to the Lord. Again, he's building altars wherever he stops. This way he can honor the Lord. Chapter 14. Abraham rescues Lot. At this time, oh good Lord, I'm going to screw this bad, so sorry. Amraphel Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of Goim, went to war against Bera, king of Sodom, Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, Shemembar, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, that is Zoar. Okay, that was a tongue twister there. Sorry. So now we have a war of multiple civilizations, multiple tribes fighting as allies against each other. All these latter kings joined forces in the valley of Siddim, the Salt Sea. For 12 years they had been subject to Kedorlaomer, but in the 13th year they rebelled. In the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and his kings allied with him went out and defeated the Rephaites and Ashtaroth, Karam, the Zuzites in Ham, the Emites in Shiva, Kiriathim, and the Horites in the hill country of Sire, as far as Al-Paran near the desert. Then they turned back and went to En-Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and they conquered the whole territory of Amalekites, as well as the Amorites who were living in Hazan Tamar. Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, the king of Bela, that is Zoar, marched out and drew up their battle lines in the valley of Siddim against Kedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, Amphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar. 4 kings against 5. Now the valley of Siddim was full of tar pits. When the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, some of the men fell into them, and the rest fled to the hills. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food, and then went away. They also carried off Abraham's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom. So now after the battle, the land where Lot was living was conquered, and so all of his stuff was considered to be property of the people who conquered him. One who had escaped came and reported this to Abraham. Hi, Nate, welcome in. One who had escaped came and reported this to Abraham, the Hebrew. Now Abraham was living near the great trees of Mamre. I'm screwing these names up. The Amorite, a brother of Eshcol and Aner, all of whom were allied with Abraham. When Abraham heard that his relative had been taken captive, he called out to the 318 trained men born in his household and went in pursuit as far as Dan. During the night, Abraham divided his men to attack them, and he routed them, pursuing them as far as Hobah, north of Damascus. He recovered all the goods and brought back his relative Lot and his possessions together with the women and the other people. After Abraham returned from defeating Kedorlaomer and the kings allied with him, the king of Sodom came out to meet him in the valley of Shiva, that is, the king's valley. Then, hi Suzanne, welcome in. Glad you're here. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was priest of God Most High. And he blessed Abraham, saying, Blessed be Abraham by God Most High, creator of heaven and earth. And blessed be God Most High, who delivered your enemies into your hand. Then Abraham gave him a tenth of everything. The king of Sodom said to Abraham, Give me the people and keep the goods for yourself. But Abraham said to the king of Sodom, I have raised my hand to the Lord God Most High, creator of heaven and earth, and have taken an oath that I will accept nothing belonging to you, not even a thread or the thong of a sandal, so that you will never be able to say, I made Abraham rich. I will accept nothing, but my men have eaten in the share that belongs to the men who went with me to Anar, Eshol, and Mamre. Let them have their share. So the god of Sodom tried to get Abraham to basically become a citizen of his kingdom with his people. And he was trying, I guess, to trade to do that. And Abraham told the king of Sodom that he had made a pledge to God that he would not do this because he did not want to taint his relationship with God. Any questions about that part or comments? Okay. Then we will move on to the last chapter we're going to work on today. This is chapter 15, the Lord's covenant with Abraham. After this, the word of the Lord came to Abraham in a vision. Do not be afraid, Abraham. I am your shield, your very great reward. But Abraham said, O sovereign Lord, what can you give me since I remain childless, and the one who will inherit my estate is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abraham said, You have given me no children, so a servant in my household will be my heir. Then the word of the Lord came to him. This man will not be your heir, but a son coming from your own body will be your heir. He took him outside and said, Look up at the heavens and count the stars, if indeed you can count them. Then he said to him, So shall your offspring be. Abraham believed the Lord, and he credited it to him as righteousness. He also said to him, I am the Lord who brought you out of Ur of the Chaldeans to give you this land to take possession of it. But Abraham said, O sovereign Lord, how can I know that I will gain possession of it? So the Lord said to him, Bring me a heifer, a goat, and a ram, each 3 years old, along with a dove and a young pigeon. Abraham brought all these to him, cut them in two, and arranged the halves opposite each other. The birds, however, he did not cut in half. Then birds of prey came down on the carcasses, but Abraham drove them away. As the sun was setting, Abraham fell into a deep sleep. and a thick and dreadful darkness came over him. Then the Lord said to him, "Know for certain that your descendants will be strangers in a country not their own, and they will be enslaved and mistreated 400 years. But I will punish the nation they serve as slaves, and afterwards they will come out with great possessions. You, however, will go to your fathers in peace and be buried at a good old age. In the fourth generation your descendants will come back here, for the sin of the Amorites has not yet reached its full measure." So now here's the Lord telling him that he's going to have descendants of his own loins, and that he's telling them that what his descendants are going to have to go through as time goes on, being enslaved by the Egyptians and the Assyrians. When the sun had set and darkness had fallen, a smoking fire pit, which with a blazing torch appeared and passed between the pieces. On that day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham and said, "To your descendants I give this land, from the river of Egypt to the great river, the Euphrates, the land of the Kenites, Kenizzites, Cadmonites, Hittites, Perizzites, Raphites, Amorites, Canaanites, Girgashites, and Jebusites." So basically, he's saying that Abraham's descendants are going to find their way back to this land that they're now in, and they are going to basically be the rulers over all of these peoples. So, does that make sense to everyone? Is there anything that you need clarification on? You're welcome, Susie. I'm glad I can do this for you. I enjoy doing it. I get tongue-tied doing it, but I enjoy doing it. You just want to do another verse or another chapter, or do you want to end there? I'll do one more if you want. Let me know. Hello. I started with the Bible up. You guys didn't get to see me till now. Okay, well, we'll do another one then, Susie. I have no problem with that. Chapter 16, verse 1. Hagar and Ishmael. Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, had borne him no children, but she had an Egyptian maidservant named Hagar. So she said to Abraham, "The Lord has kept me from having children. Go sleep with my maidservant. Perhaps I can build a family through her." Abraham agreed to what Sarah said. So after Abraham had been living in Canaan 10 years, Sarah, his wife, took her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar, and gave her to her husband to be his wife. He slept with Hagar, and she conceived. When she knew she was pregnant, she began to despise her mistress. Then Sarah said to Abraham, "You are responsible for the wrong I am suffering. I put my servant in your arms, and now that she knows she is pregnant, she despises me. May the Lord judge between you and me." "Your servant is in your hands," Abraham said. "Do with her whatever you think best." Then Sarah mistreated Hagar, so she fled from her. The angel of the Lord found Hagar near a spring in the desert. It was the spring that is beside the road to Shur. And he said to Hagar, servant of Sarah, "Where have you come from, and where are you going?" "I'm running away from my mistress, Sarah," she answered. Then the angel of the Lord told her, "Go back to your mistress and submit to her." The angel added, "I will so increase your descendants that they will be too numerous to count." The angel of the Lord also said to her, "You are now with child, and you will have a son. You shall name him Ishmael, for the Lord has heard of your misery. He will be a wild donkey of a man. His hand will be against everyone, and everyone's hand against him, and he will live in hostility toward all his brothers." She gave this name to the Lord who spoke to her. "You are the God who sees me," for she said, "I have now seen the one who sees me." That is why the well was called Bir Lahi Roy. It is still there between Kadesh and Bered. So Hagar bore Abraham a son, and Abraham gave the name Ishmael to the son she had born. Abraham was 86 years old when Hagar bore him Ishmael. So now here's the Lord fulfilling his promise to Abraham to give him a lineage from his own loins. And telling us how his son is going to grow up and live in hostility with everyone. So that should be interesting, don't you think? So, alrighty. Well, any questions about that part? Hmm. I hope this sees you all doing well today. Um, do you have any prayer requests before we leave? I'm going to do a prayer. Um, Anytime, Jay. I want to start doing this more regularly, at least 2 times a week. So if you would let me know which days work best for you and what times, we'll set that up to be more consistent. That's one thing I'm trying to work on with you guys is being consistent and making sure that I'm doing what I say I'm going to do. And I need you to hold me accountable to that, please. So yeah, please let me know what works best for you, what times, days, would evenings be better for this? I'm going to pray for Jamie and her family. They just got some news today that's not great. I'm not going to go into details on it. I don't know who all knows. Well, hello, Mother. My mom's on Rumble. She said, praise God for all the good that we have in our lives, where He takes care of us and ever need, and we thank Him for that. So, all right, well, I'm going to do a quick prayer. And, and then we'll wrap up. And yeah, dear Lord, thank you for today. All right, can you see me now? Can you hear me? No? No. What the heck is going on? Nope. There, I hear myself. I think I hear myself. Okay. Turn my volume up? I can't. Uh, Turn my volume can't turn my mic up.